A Blavatskyan Theosophical perspective on the conflict between cultural relativism and moral absolutism by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. Cultural relativism, a concept that posits the validity of cultural practices and beliefs within their own contexts, has garnered significant attention and debate within the realms of anthropology, philosophy and ethics. This perspective asserts that no culture is superior to another, thereby promoting an understanding of cultural diversity and fostering tolerance. However, despite its apparent merits, a critical examination reveals several profound arguments against cultural relativism that challenge its foundational premises. One of the most significant critiques of cultural relativism is its inherent contradiction with the notion of moral absolutism. Moral absolutism posits that certain ethical principles are universally applicable, transcending cultural boundaries. For instance, practices such as genocide, slavery and torture are widely condemned across various cultures, suggesting that there exists a moral framework that is not contingent upon cultural context. This universality of certain moral principles raises critical questions about the validity of cultural relativism. Consequently, cultural relativism's assertion that all cultural practices are equally valid undermines the possibility of critiquing such egregious violations of human rights. This raises the question of whether cultural relativism inadvertently legitimizes harmful practices under the guise of cultural respect. The implications of this are profound, as it challenges the very foundation of ethical discourse and the pursuit of justice. The examination of Blavatskyan Theosophy in relation to moral absolutism reveals a nuanced perspective that both aligns with and diverges from traditional absolutist frameworks. At its core, Blavatskyan Theosophy posits a universal moral law, which can be interpreted as a form of moral absolutism, suggesting that certain ethical principles transcend cultural boundaries and are applicable to all sentient beings. This notion is rooted in the belief in an underlying unity of existence, where the moral fabric of the universe is seen as immutable and eternal. However, it is essential to recognise that Blavatsky's teachings also emphasise the importance of individual spiritual evolution and the contextual nature of moral understanding. This duality introduces a level of complexity that challenges a straightforward categorization of theosophy as being strictly on the side of moral absolutism. While the theosophical framework advocates for certain universal truths, it simultaneously acknowledges the subjective experiences and varying interpretation of these truths across different cultures and epochs. Consequently, one could argue that Blavatskyan Theosophy supports a form of moral absolutism that is tempered by an awareness of cultural relativism. This synthesis allows for a profound exploration of ethical principles that are deemed universal, while also accommodating the diverse manifestations of morality shaped by cultural contexts. Thus, the theosophical perspective invites a critical dialogue on the interplay between absolute moral truths and the relative nature of human ethical experiences, ultimately enriching the discourse surrounding moral philosophy.